What's up everybody, I'm Nenz and welcome to my latest tutorial where we're going to be taking a look at a program called Voicemeeter Banana. It's a free virtual audio mixer that you can use to mix and manage any of your audio sources to or from any audio devices or applications. This means that we can separate one or multiple applications from your main mix in OBS. I've been using it for a while now and it's been one of the hugest quality of life improvements for me as far as audio management goes on the fly while streaming, that I wanted to share my own settings with you so that you guys can have the same benefits as well. And of course, throughout the tutorial, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. Or if you'd like to, I stream every Tuesday, Thursday night, 7 to 10 p.m. Pacific time, so you guys can always reach out to me there as well. So the first step is obviously to download Voicemeeter Banana. So we're gonna head on over to vbaudio.com, which I'll leave a link for in the description down below. We're already on the Banana tab, so all we need to do is scroll to the bottom of the page and click where it says install. That's going to prompt you to save Voicemeeter Pro setup.exe. So go ahead and save the file, open it up, follow the installation instructions, and then afterwards I'm pretty sure it's going to prompt you to restart your computer, so just make sure you do so before continuing on. All right, so next let's open up the application. I know at first the UI can look a little bit confusing, but don't worry, you'll realize the more I explain it, it's actually not that bad. And I'm also going to break down exactly what each section does so that you guys don't get lost along the way. So starting with the top left, we have 3 hardware inputs, 1, 2, and 3. Below that is each of their respective control panels. And then in the center, you can see we have our 2 virtual inputs, Voicemeeter VAIO and Voicemeeter aux, as well as their control panels beneath each. And then to the right, we have our hardware outputs, A1, 2, and 3. Below that, you can see we have a little recording section where we can record audio directly through Voicemeeter. And then below that is a master section that allows us to have individual control over each of our physical and virtual inputs. So underneath all of our inputs, we have our control panels as well. For the purposes of this video, I'm not really going to get into depth about IntelliPan, the compressor, the noise gate, the equalizer stuff. That's not really necessary for the setup that we're doing today. But I did want to show you that underneath all of our inputs, we have our volume faders. So if you want to lower the volume, you can click and drag it down. If you want to reset it, you can double click. And if you right click, you can actually enter in a custom amount and hit enter. And then to the right of our volume faders, we have our hardware outputs. So for example, if I wanted to hear my microphone out of my speakers, I would have A1 selected. If I want to hear it out of my headphones, I'd have A2 selected. And then below that, we have both of our virtual outputs. I have both of those selected because I want to broadcast to both of those. And then as well, I have the mono button highlighted because my microphone needs to be down mixed to mono. Oh, hello. And then below that, we have a solo button. So if we select that, it'll mute all other inputs aside for the one solo's highlighted for. And then as well, we have a mute button below that. And then in the center, we have our 2 virtual inputs, and those function exactly the same as well. They have 2 volume faders. You can select where you want to hear them out of. And then as well, under the master section, we have the volume faders down here. But what's really cool about this section is that if something's too loud on your end, but maybe it's perfectly balanced within OBS, you can actually drag the volume faders down in the master section. That'll lower the volume within your headset instead of lowering the volume of the whole mix. I'm trying to give a tutorial. What are you doing? You're not helping. Actually, you are helping, but in a not constructive way. So I have Voicemeeter VAIO as my main line. You can see that right here. And I have Voicemeeter aux as my secondary line. You can see it's labeled Discord up here. If you want to rename anything within Voicemeeter, all you have to do is right click and it'll bring up a text box. You can go ahead and type whatever you like and then hit enter. In order to tell Windows that we want our audio routed through the main line, we're going to have to go to the sound control panel. So open up your sound settings, click on sound control panel, and then under the playback tab, we're going to want to scroll all the way to the bottom where you are going to see your new virtual inputs. You're going to see that I have the main line selected, or VAIO. So you're going to want to highlight that, hit set default, and then the same under the recording tab, you're going to want to go all the way to the bottom, highlight the same one, hit set default, and just click OK, and that'll let Windows know that we want all of our audio now routed through Voicemeeter VAIO. Afterwards, we're going to want to select a hardware input, so just go to where it says hardware input and click, and it should bring up a drop-down menu of all of your available devices. For me, I have my Focusrite USB selected, which is my audio interface because I have an XLR mic that's plugged into that. If you have a USB mic or a headset mic, however, it should be named exactly what it is, but if you have an XLR mic and an interface, it might be named after the interface, so just keep an eye out for that. But you're going to notice that there are two separate listings for each of your audio devices, and that's simply because you have two separate drivers to choose from, one being WDM and the other being MME. WDM does have less latency and MME. However, if your machine can't process audio fast enough, you may have to select MME, so just keep an ear out. If you hear any pops and crackles in your audio, you might want to switch drivers. So next, we're going to want to choose a hardware output. For my A1, I have my speaker selected, and then for my A2, I have my headphones selected. You can have your headphones first if you'd like to. This is just how I have it set up. The only thing that matters is to make sure that you have the same driver selected across all of your inputs and outputs, because if you don't, it's going to cause some issues. So now that we have everything set up within Voicemeeter Banana, we can get started in OBS. So right away, you're going to notice that in my audio mixer, I have my Blue Ember, Discord, and my main line separated. And in order to do that, you just go to File, Settings, and go down to the Audio tab. And you can see my desktop audio 1 is the VAIO line, which is our main, and desktop audio 2 is our aux line. And then for our mic, I wanted it to be routed through the main as well, so I have that selected. So all you do is hit OK. And then in order to rename anything within OBS, all you got to do is right click on rename, and then type whatever you like. I've already done that, so I'm not going to do that again here, but it does keep you better organized. So the setup for Discord is actually super simple. If I drag Discord over here and we go down to user settings and go into voice and video, you can see right away that both my input device and my output device are both Voicemeeter aux, so just make sure you select that from the drop down menu. And you can see Discord is picking up my audio signal here, and if we were to go back into Voicemeeter Banana and deselect B2, you can see right away that Discord stops receiving my audio signal, and if we are to reselect it, it would start receiving my signal again. So what this has done is we have separated Discord into the B2 channel, so our microphone is broadcasting B2 into Discord, but our B1 channel is still going directly into OBS. So in case you need to mute yourself from B2 for whatever reason within Voicemeeter Banana, you can always deselect it, and that won't affect this channel right here going into OBS. And we can check our output from Discord as well. If we join a voice channel and we ask Groovy to play us a song, you're going to see right away under our audio mixer that our Discord is going to start lighting up. And of course, we can mute and unmute this without affecting our main mix. And this would be emulating something like our teammates talking to us within Discord. You can see Groovy's lighting up in here. So this makes sure that our output is also properly routed. And if you want to double check that Discord is the only application that you've isolated, you can always check it with an application like Spotify. So if we play the same song again, right away, you're going to notice that only the main line is lighting up instead of the Discord line. So that makes sure that Spotify is not in the aux line, that all of your default audio is being routed through main. However, if you did want to separate Spotify, you can do that with any application. Actually, if you go down to the taskbar, right click, open up sound settings, and then you go down this time to app volume and device preferences, and you can see all of your active apps right here. Where it says output, all you would need to do is go down and select aux input, which is obviously our separate line right here. So if we do that this time, if we drag Spotify back over and we start playing the same song, you're going to see this time it's actually being lit up in the Discord channel. So if you want to separate any other application, it's super easy to do. You just got to go to app control and device preferences and change it in there. So as far as audio routing goes, we're pretty much finished here. There's not anything else you need to do. However, there are two last things that I wanted to mention, and one is sample rate and the other is buffer rate. So if you want higher audio quality, you're going to want to up your sample rate. So within Voicemeeter, if you go to menu and you go to system settings and options, and at the bottom here you can see it says preferred main sample rate. I've already changed mine to 4800, and you can do the same by clicking and choosing that here. But if you do that within Voicemeeter, you have to make sure you do the same in OBS. So just go to File, Settings, and you go down to the Audio tab, and you can see sample rate. Mine's already at 48K. So you have to do the same thing, because if you don't, you might run into issues while you're recording. And then as well, you might want to double check within the sound control panel that all of your devices are also set to 4800. So if you have something like my Focusrite USB, that's my interface, I would go down to properties, and then I would make sure that I go to the advanced tab and make sure that my sample rate is also at 4800 within the drop down menu. So just make sure all of your devices and both Voicemeeter and OBS are all set to 4800. So as far as buffer rate goes, I had a lot of troubles initially when I set up Voicemeeter for the first time. When recording audio, I had a lot of pops and crackles, and even if I changed drivers, it didn't make a difference. So what had happened is that my computer was just too slow to process the audio fast enough, and I needed to give my computer more time, more of a buffer. So the way that we do that is by going to Menu, go down to System Settings and Options, and right away you can see our drivers MME and WDM. To the right of that is our buffer rate. So you can see the default numbers right here. You can see that the default is normally 512, but I had to max my WDM buffer rate all the way. My current computer, since I've gotten a new one, can probably do it at a lower number. I just had my settings saved, so this is what it's at, and this is what's working for me, so I haven't changed it. But if you click on it, it's gonna prompt you with this warning. It says changing this parameter requires specific expertise. I'm not an expert, and it worked for me, so it'll be okay. So just click OK, and you can see the sample rate. You can keep trying. Remember, the default is 512, so you can keep trying one by one to see what sample rate will get rid of your audio issues. But for me, I had to max it out. That's something I couldn't find help with, no matter how hard I looked, and it took me forever to figure out. So I wanted to sneak this in at the end of the video so that maybe if someone out there is experiencing the same problem, that they don't have the headache of figuring it out for themselves as well. And then I did mention that I had saved my settings, which I recommend you guys doing. And the way to do that is by going up to Menu within Voicemeeter and going to Save Settings. From here, you can just save your file into a nice little XML document and hit save, name it whatever you want. And this is gonna do a save state of Voicemeeter. So anything you have labeled, any fader that you have at a certain volume, anything that you have selected is going to be saved just like that. So if you are like me and you build a new computer, you don't have to go through the trouble of setting everything up again. You can just load up the document and everything will be saved exactly as it was before. Okay, that was a lot, I know, and that barely scratches the surface of Voicemeeter. There's a lot more that you can do with it, but for our purposes, for streaming, you don't have to get that crazy in depth with it. So I basically wanted to make a speed run version so that you guys can set it up real fast and then get off to streaming like you guys would like to do. So if this video helped you guys out, please leave a like, leave a comment if you guys are still confused or have any questions. And you guys have a wonderful time, have a great stream, and I'll catch you in the next one.